Good afternoon, everybody. Steve Bloomfield, and I serve as the manager for recruitment and outreach here at Washtenaw Community College. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for attending this webinar event. Definitely want to welcome you, and we've got a lot of great people for you to talk to and meet with today. I myself wanted to kind of start off this presentation by giving you a little bit of history as to where it came about. The webinar itself came from our recruitment staff and from other folks in student services, enrollment management, discussing some of the challenges that came with COVID-19 and the abrupt switch from face-to-face classes to online and virtual classrooms. But also along that line, we were discussing the fact that with the circumstances the way they are and the potential for online classes being more the norm in the coming months, that we needed to provide opportunities, as many opportunities as we could, to demonstrate what online learning was all about. For folks like myself in my age group, there may be questions if, in my case, not taking online classes, if I'm trying to go back and further education, knowing more about how the system works is a huge deal. And I think even for young folks who are coming in, maybe new right out of high school or still dual enrolled, if you're interested in taking college classes and this particular option of online and virtual learning is your choice, or something that's attractive to you potentially, you want it works. And so today is about that. It's about giving folks an introduction to our online learning, to our Blackboard system, with the hopes of, getting the word out about how things work, but also to make connections with folks who are considering taking classes in the future. So like I said, we're really excited to have you here. A couple things about the presentation today. We're gonna have a number of different folks. My staff, my recruitment staff, Janelle and Julie and Kim and Annie and Dominique are gonna be doing various portions of the presentation. They will also be helping out with the chat line, and what you can see from today is that everybody's muted, and that helps just with the flow and making sure we're not having technical issues. But you have a chat box that you can easily use to ask questions, and we'll be there to answer them. And also too, just like our hope for today is, like, I'm looking at some of the folks who signed up today, and we kind of got a sense, many of you listed what your programs of study were. And so, as this event goes on and you're like, wow, this online option for me may work out, or, I want to learn more, in the chat, just let folks know that you want us to follow up with communication. We're going to be contacting you and giving you a heads up on various things if you're interested in taking classes anyway, but our recruitment staff definitely wants to work individually to help people through the enrollment process and to help address any questions you might have about programs. So I mentioned a couple seconds ago, if I could, Janelle, we could switch to the next slide. This right here is the agenda for the day. We have about an hour-long agenda. And we're going to go through a variety of things. And I mentioned a couple minutes ago the term Blackboard. And I want to explain, sort of the definition of Blackboard. And then today what's going to happen is we're going to have 3 of our faculty members go into the details of online classes, how they work, virtual classes, how they work. You're going to get to see the Blackboard tool. And I mean, we're really excited. You'll see some examples of what the faculty do in their classrooms. We have a good sampling of 3 faculty members that represent very important and popular areas of learning in our community college. So you're going to get a great sort of introduction to online and virtual learning by the faculty that we have here. But I do want to just read quickly for you what Blackboard is. Blackboard Learn is a learning management system filled with powerful yet intuitive and user-friendly tools that we use at WCC to host our courses. In Blackboard, students can find grades, test scores, or tests, exams, assignments, resources, and a lot more. We have a variety of subjects taught entirely online, and each Blackboard course site is designed and developed to maximize student learning and ensure engagement. So anybody who's a student with us is going to know and work regularly in Blackboard. And so what a great day and time for us to be able to introduce this to you. So if you look at this agenda for the day, I talked to you, gave you the definition about what Blackboard is. We have, again, like I said, 3 of our faculty members are going to talk about online, in time, just in time classes or on-demand classes. We're going to talk about the virtual classroom. And then what you're going to see at the end is we have a really good piece from our student ambassadors who were some of those students who were taking classes live that all of a sudden switched to online or virtual. So they're going to give you a few minutes of their story and how that's worked for them. And then we're going to talk to you about next steps in getting started at WCC. And we're going to introduce our success coaching at the college, then finish with questions and answers. So once again, I just want to thank you for coming on board and being a part of this. The cool thing about today is we're recording this, and so our faculty presentations are going to be put online so that if you have questions or you want to go back to this presentation on anything, you'll have that ability to do so. So again, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with you today.
Good afternoon. My name is Dominique Green, and I am one of the recruitment and outreach specialists. So I'm going to talk about student diversity at Washtenaw Community College. See, Washtenaw likes to emphasize the community aspect, as that's what it was founded and created based upon. So researchers from the University of Michigan and Eastern Michigan University saw that it was a need in the Washtenaw County area to provide education for its population of people. So we have different types of students availability for your educational output. So we're talking students under the age of 18 and younger will be considered our dual enrollment students. So those are students who are in high schools who have an opportunity to obtain college credits to transfer into Washtenaw, obtain their associates, and also just get credits to add to their maybe their 4-year career pipeline that they're interested in. And then after that, you have your high school to college. So your recent high school graduates who are a FIDIAC, which stands for first time in any college. So those students who are just getting their first taste of what college life would be, we also have access to those students. Then we move along the lines of our adult learners, which are in the age groups of 25 plus. So those can be any of those individuals who are maybe part of the non-degree seeking, right? Which means that they're just taking credits for their personal enrichment, or possibly just taking classes to be refreshed, or maybe they have test prep. Or they can be looking for a change in scenery, or maybe they are a transfer student or taking courses at another school, so they're a guest student. And then we have our encore students. Those are our students who are maybe a change in career field, right? Maybe what they've been doing for years, they're looking for a new taste of something refreshing. So if you see in the image on the screen, you have a father-son duo, which you can also see on our website and read the full story. But you have the father, Wayne Dotson, on the left, and son, Andrew Dotson, on the right. Wayne is 51 years of age, and his son, Andrew, is 18 years of age. And they share classes together. Most of the time, kids don't want to, they'd rather be out the house, so they don't want to then go into college with their parent. But this is a success story from an aspect of how his son motivated him to get into a career field that was more engaging. Because Mr. Wayne himself is a volunteer fireman and works as a paramedic. So he was looking for a career change, but his son was a dual enrolled student in his welding program. So it gave him an insight of a cool opportunity to move into a new realm and start a new path in his life. And then we have emeritus status of students who are 65 years or older. And if you're in a Washtenaw Community College area, you get tuition free when you're a Washtenaw County resident. So those are perks and understanding of how you have students on campus from ages 15 to 70. And that's diversity from an aspect of availability and opportunity to learn and glean and get a holistic experience in college, not just from your educational academic background, but also the unique information you get from your classmate just sitting next to you. So those are important, significant points of understanding the community base and the student diversity at WCC.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Annie, and I actually wanted to share something that we are very proud of here at Washington Community College. Everyone works very hard to give the student the best experience possible, so I think we do earn some bragging rights. Washington Community College has been ranked the #1 community college in the state of Michigan, as well as one of the top 50 community colleges in the U.S. We have also been ranked the best community college by multiple sites. Next slide, please. Over here, you can clearly see that WCC's labs are accredited by many organizations. To name a few, we have the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the Michigan Commission of Law Enforcement Standards, and the Education Foundation. Student success is very important to us. We do have dual enrollment that is offered to our students. We have over 137 degrees that are offered by the college. Over 125 of them are offered online.
Hi, I'm Julie Haney, and I'm a recruitment and outreach specialist for WCC. And Dominique spoke about dual enrollment, and I just wanted to add it's definitely an option here at WCC. And the college credits earned, the dual enrollment student earns, can be applied toward high school and college graduation. And those college credits can also be transferred to other colleges and universities. Next slide, please. So we have some awesome remote student resources that we've been working on before, as well as in response to the COVID stay home, stay safe executive orders. You can visit our COVID-19 page. We provide constant updates to keep students informed on campus as well as off and remote. So if you're feeling maybe a little nervous, apprehensive, or just scared to take an online or virtual classroom option this summer, we have a convenient summer online resource page, and all of our student resources are still available and they're offered remotely. So you can still take the AccuPlacer placement test, or you can meet with an advisor. And you can also get any of your questions answered. So I know you won't be able to come to visit campus, but you can still see the campus with the virtual tour option we have. And then another resource I wanted to talk about, Steve spoke earlier about Blackboard. We have a Blackboard's tip page for students where you can review answers to common questions by watching student-created interactive videos. And some of the videos include how to submit assignments, working in student groups, review for tests, making a post in Blackboard. And if you have any questions about that, we do have a help desk that can help with anything in regards to Blackboard. And one other thing I just wanted to mention, we do offer remote learning support and resources with a virtual touring option. Next.
Hi guys, my name is Janelle. So what you're gonna see is what online learning looks like at WCC right now. You actually have two options when choosing a course to do remotely. You have our on-demand online learning. So this is what we have always offered. This is what we got ranked #1. We have expanded our options and also have added a virtual classroom. This virtual classroom has dedicated meet times. So it's like a remote version of our blended class. Our blended class and this class have in common where you have work outside of the time you meet, and you have work that you do with your instructor, and you have a meet sort of like this, where you actually get to have that face-to-face time and ask questions. So at this time, I'm gonna hand this over to Randy Van Wagenen. He's an animation instructor here at WCC. He's gonna open up his Blackboard and kind of break down that barrier of what it looks like. Go ahead and take it away, Randy.
Well, hello everybody. Nice to see you all. I'm going to be walking you through one of my courses a little bit. You know, I think one of the questions maybe as a student you have is, okay, what does this stuff actually look like? And of course, I have been developing and teaching online courses for years here at the college, and I wanted to give you just very briefly an overview, or just make the comment that our fully online courses go through really a rigorous design and development process that takes quite a while. Excuse me. There's a whole team of people that go into building these courses and helping ensure student success and learning. And we've been working very hard at this for a number of years. So we are very well supported by our college and our Center for Interactive Teaching and Learning. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can get this to work here. I'm going to share my screen. And I am going to share the announcements page off of one of my courses. Can everybody see that? Are we doing okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So this is what you're going to see when you log into the classroom. I'm going to start off here real quick and talk about a couple of things that we use maybe a little bit more than other folks do, and you're going to get to hear from some other instructors. This is from my ANI 250 course. It's an organic modeling and rigging, building characters for games and movies and advertisements and that kind of thing. This is we do a lot of character work in here. We do some automotive work. Really cool class. I'll show you some of it at the end here. So your announcements page is where you're going to hear a weekly update, kind of notices, errata, things that are going on in the course. That stuff also gets pushed out to your email address, and if you install the app, you're going to get that as soon as it flashes across too, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so that's where we start. Now, the heart and soul of the course in terms of material is going to be here in your learning units. All right. We have them sort of separated out into units and modules. Okay. Units being sort of, I like to think of it as being, chapters versus pages. There's different ways to look at this, but underneath, say, my character creation portion of the class, go ahead and click on that there. You have a number of individual modules you're going to have to do. Now, each week you're going to be assigned a number of these to explore. So one week, you might be working on learning the anatomy, the muscle, skeleton stuff for the hands, and then you'd go ahead and go out and model that. We're going to take a look here at my modeling extras module. Okay, and this is where my students are learning to do hair, hair cards, hair systems. They're learning to model clothing, armor, that kind of stuff. I don't know if this kind of thing interests anybody out there, but this will give you a chance to look at sort of what kind of materials you'd be confronted with each week. And so, or that you would have to engage with, I would say. And so we use a mixture. We've got articles posted up there. Usually we're kind of going after fundamentals, tool definitions, that kind of thing with those. And we use a lot of video demos. And so those are drawn from a variety of sources. We might be coming from LinkedIn Learning, professionally done stuff. We also produce a lot of our own videos here. And so these are done, again, through our CITL. And they're pre-recorded lectures and demonstrations you can watch very much, sort of hands-on, and that you would watch that and you'd go out and attempt to model this on your own. And then we do have, embedded in there, we have the assignments. I'm going to talk about those in a minute here. I'm watching my clock. Okay. When I do these courses, one of the things, and one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give to everybody here, and I think one of the reasons we are so successful with our online courses is these aren't websites that you go and fill out. They're really not correspondence courses. You are expected and encouraged to have a robust personal relationship with your classmates and with your instructor, right? And so one of the ways that we do that is we do it through our online meetings, okay? Since I'm talking to you about the DL, the asynchronous courses, the fully online courses, these meetings aren't required, okay? We're going to be using a software similar to what we're using right now. And they're a really important place where you can reach out and connect with people. So in my courses, they're usually scheduled once a week. We will be doing demos where we kind of bring together the stuff that we were doing in our module readings and maybe demo a little bit different way to do things. It's a place to ask questions. If you can't be there in person, my students are sending in stuff via email, they're texting, they're sending me stuff through Blackboard like, hey, I can't make the meeting this week, but could you show how to do this, this, and this? And they'll send me their files. It's a place where we can kind of go in there and share each other's models and kind of pick at them and fix things together and sort of troubleshoot and do that kind of stuff. Very, very hands-on. The software itself is really neat. you can do stuff like screen sharing. I can take over your screen if you let me, or you could take over my screen. I give my students doodling privileges where they can draw on the screen to say, hey, what's that? And I draw an arrow and it pops up right on my screen so I can see what they're asking. Okay, it's really cool software. Students can attend these from home, whether it's on desktop. A lot of my students attend via mobile. You can even call in via phone, regular old telephone system. That works as well. You can join it in a variety of ways. Oh, and I also record them. So if I open up this folder, you would get a big, long list of all of our different things. So, we'll record these sessions. I'll type out a brief synopsis. I oftentimes will put in, hey, if you're interested in this, go to, minute number 3 or whatever. And that's where we got into that kind of thing. And then students can kind of go back and either watch that for the first time or rewatch it at their leisure. And yeah, so this is a huge part. And again, my big advice for students out there, make a connection with your instructor. Whether that's, during the meetings, I use GoToMeeting for my virtual office hours. I use GoToMeeting for just odd meetings that we have to do with students. We sometimes will host open labs on there where it's a designated time on the weekend, maybe where students can come and drop in and just ask questions and get help with whatever it is that they're working on. But definitely make a connection with your instructor. It helps a lot. Okay, I'm running out of time here. So real quick, when we submit our assignments, we like to use the blog tool. So if you were going to go ahead and submit when you got your head modeled, for instance, it's going to have a detailed rubric. It's going to have questions about things that you were working on here. You're going to submit your file with your comments there. And then the other really cool thing about this is other students can look at your work and you can sort of interact that way. Okay, outside of the normal, the GoToMeeting setting. We can do it asynchronously. You can post whenever you want. You can kind of check out what the other artists are doing, show your stuff off. It's really quite cool. It's got a comment board that goes right on there. We also use discussion boards. I know some other people are going to talk about that, so I'm going to go over that. We have quizzes and exams, pretty straightforward. Taking it home. Let's see here. Oh, and if you want to get an idea of the kind of things that we're doing, see if I can share this video. Just if you're wondering, what is this guy talking about with all his character modeling and rigging? This is an example. Can you guys see the character standing there? Is it working? Okay. You can see an example of a game character that, they're building these models and then they're painting them up. Anybody that knows anything about this 3D animation stuff, you're building it out of basically from a cube and building up to there and then painting it with these UV layouts and all this stuff. And, this is actually in-game footage of his various characters running around in the scene. And we take it in the Unreal Engine for all my gamers out there. We're taking that stuff in there and doing that. So, I'm going to wrap it up here and say we've had really good success over the years teaching online. We have a lot of experience doing it, and I'm super excited to see some of you in there. And I think unless there's any questions, I'm done. That's my 10 minutes. Nothing? All right.
I don't see any questions in the chat box, but if anyone does, they can just insert it there and we'll be sure to ask it and get the answer for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Randy. So next we're going to hear from Susan Dentel. She's a biology instructor, and she is going to take us inside her virtual classroom and kind of show us what her Blackboard looks like. I'm going to have you take it over now, Susan.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen in a moment. So I just want you to know that I teach in life science, and I teach pathophysiology and I teach anatomy and physiology, 2 really hard courses. But like any course that you take in this online format or this virtual format, it is doable. And one of the big things, like Randy mentioned, is talking to your instructor, really exploring your site, your Blackboard site, knowing where things are at. And if you don't know where those things are at, asking people, really getting proactive about where to find a particular item. So I'm going to start. Can everyone see my screen okay? Okay, very good. I'm going to start with the front page, which for most of us who teach in this way, you have announcements. And so you can see weekly announcements. And for me, I always put study suggestions up on my front site when we have exam reviews and a link to go to meeting to do those exam reviews, help desk information, tutoring. And I always like to keep that out front and center for students. And you can see along this left side menu bar that there's information on how to get a hold of your instructor, how to email your instructor, how to email other students in your class. There's always information about getting used to your site, technology, your syllabus and schedule is stored on your site. And this is pretty normal for most instructors and online classes. Now, this is actually a virtual class, and what that means is that we have a lot of materials that are delivered online, but we meet virtually twice a week. And during that virtual session, and I'm going to just go to one place now. During that virtual session, students go to that link at a specific time twice a week, and we do mini lectures, especially areas that are complicated and hard to understand. We do some interactive exercises together. Students take quizzes, and then I'm available to help students. So it has been a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And I think the students do too. And I think you will also once you get used to it. Now, some students say, I really, really like face-to-face, environments, and we all do. But this is actually a pretty close second to that face-to-face experience. And I think once you get used to it, you might like it. So just like Randy and many other courses with instructors, learning units are the core of your course. And if you go into a learning unit, they're going to be somewhat similar in all courses. For me, I always have a study guide that tells you exactly what you need to know for a particular exam. And then because I teach pathophysiology, it's based so much on anatomy and physiology. And so I make students actually do a review of their A&P. And so this includes a review sheet, PowerPoints that you would have, and then you watch an A&P review video, and then you take a quiz, and you're allowed to take this quiz as many times as you want up to the due date, but it's a good way to get people to review their A&P because you can't understand altered physiology until you have your basics behind you. And you can see I store my PowerPoints here so that when students go through the learning units, they'll have their PowerPoints in front of them and their study guide. So you click on a module and you see what that module is about. You can watch the video and take notes just like you would in a face-to-face class. All right, so learning units, and then something else that I do, and not everybody, but I do in my learning units, is I have lots of practice materials for students, okay? One of them are these flashcards, and you can see a term, and then if you want to see the definition of that term, it's on the other side, and you can go through and look at all these different terms. Now, flashcards aren't the only thing you should be studying, but it's a way to get down terminology. I'm also going to show you one other thing here, and that is I have lots of practice quizzes, and I think it's on another section here, but I have so many practice quizzes for students that they feel comfortable with what my questions are going to be like on the exam. So I provide a lot of materials for students because I think they need a lot of resources to understand the material and to practice. And let's see, what else can I show you? In my course, we take all of our exams through Examity, which is an online proctoring service. And students schedule their exams in advance. And what's cool about this is that you can schedule anytime 24/7 to take your exam. So if you want to take your exam at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can, as long as it's during the time range. And so it allows students to take their exams from home, but it's fully proctored. And my students have exams that are broken up into 2 parts. The first part is multiple choice, matching, true and false, and you get immediate feedback on how you did. And then the other part is essay, and they have to wait for me to grade the essay. One thing that I do with my mixed mode, which I'm going to show you here, is I actually make students post their answers to essays ahead of time, because the computer randomly chooses between 1 of 2 essays. So all students have to study for 2 essays. And what's really great about this is that when students do this assignment, I then can give some really qualitative feedback to their essays. And this is one part of the exam, there's no mystery, because they know and they have worked on those essays. And they have thought through some of the big thoughts that they needed to complete this. All right, one last thing. I just wanted to show you something. Well, 2 last things. I wanted to show you something fun. We also do case studies in pathophysiology. And I am lucky because a great team of people created a lot of really cool activities for me, mimicking some of the things that I do in regular face-to-face classes. So this is just one example. There are lots of different types of case studies that I have on here, but this is one example of a case study. And you can see it's telling a story, and there are characters in the story. But this is all about some of the things that we're learning. And it's put into a real life scenario. And you click through it, and then you can also click on various parts to get more information. So I can click on the hospital, and I can hear from the ER doctor, and I can hear from different team members about different aspects of this case. And then the students need to answer questions and submit them. We also do one last thing in class. These are called self-reflection journals, and it's probably the only subjective portion of our class, but it allows students to critically think about medical ethics sorts of problems, as well as to actually review some scientific literature. And they get to choose between 2 articles, and they read them, and then they post their comments here. And this is a private blog. So I think I am done for today, and I'm gonna see if you have any questions. And are there any questions? I don't think so.
No questions yet.
All right. So thank you all so much, and I will turn it over to our next instructor.
Thank you so much, Susan. So our next instructor we're going to hear from is Aaron Anderson. He is an English instructor here at WCC, and he is going to loop back around and cover a few more things just to make sure that you guys are comfortable online. Take it away, Aaron.
Hey, hi, folks. First of all, let me go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll get started here. Okay, now basically what I'm going to do, and quite frankly, Randy and Susan covered a lot. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to complement what they have covered. I'm just going to highlight a few things that I think are very important for you to do the first couple days of class. And actually, I'll start in order. I'll actually start with the announcements. Now, many instructors use announcements in various ways. What I like to do with my announcements is, in addition to giving you an idea of what's coming up for the week, giving you any updates, I also like to record videos. What I did for the first week of class is I posted an overview of what to expect, and then I also recorded a video, personalizing a little bit more. So that's something that some of your instructors will do. I know I do it in my class, in my English class. So definitely pay attention to the announcements. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is course orientation. Now, I know that Susan briefly talked about that. I want to get into it a little bit more because that is key to the first couple days. Okay, you have to go through the orientation in order to get a feel for what Blackboard is about and to be more comfortable with how it functions. So we're going to click on that right now. And you see the navigating Blackboard link. You're going to click on that. And then there's a lot of information to cover here. You definitely want to take your time to go through most of this information, if not all of it. Usually what I tell people to do is start off with the quick start. And then it just kind of gives you some basic information, logging in, determining your course view, managing your information, accessing course materials. Now, as you're going through this, one thing that is going to be important, and I'm going to come back to it, is how to navigate discussions, because the difference between the last two presentations, the classes that Randy and Susan teach, and what I teach in English, is that we use discussion boards quite frequently. So it's going to be important for you, if you're going to take an English class, to review how to navigate the discussion boards. So you're going to find it here in the orientation area in Blackboard. So we'll just click on discussions here. And then as you go through it, you're going to see some videos that are going to be very helpful for you to review. It's going to really walk you through how to navigate the discussion boards. Now, a little later on in my part of this presentation, I'm actually going to show you the discussion board in my class and exactly how that's set up. So definitely review this the first couple days of your class. Now, the next thing I'm going to highlight here, again, Randy and Susan touched on this, the syllabus and schedule. Most instructors make it easy for you when it comes to the syllabus and schedule, because if you ever wonder about anything, it's right here in Blackboard. It isn't something that, you typically in a face-to-face class, they give you a hard copy syllabus and then, you can misplace it. It's right here, when you're taking an online class. So I have not only provided a copy of the course syllabus, but I've also put the schedule in here as well. So this is something that you can refer to anytime you're not sure as to, what's coming up for the week. And it helps you plan your week. Now, learning units, my learning units are pretty much set up the same as what you saw with Randy and with Susan. Now, the difference with my class is because I have an English class, so most of our assignments are writing based. I know for English 111, we have writing center assignments. We've got grammar sets, the essays. Now, the essays are probably the most critical part of an online English course. So I'm going to take you to that right now. And the way that this is set up is, first of all, with the essays, we'll give you like general instructions when it comes to, what we're expecting when it comes to these assignments. Like, for instance, with English 111, typically with a standard essay, we look for 3 to 5 pages, double spaced, right? So we do have some basic instructions. We do give you some links to help you out with MLA and APA documentation. Depending on the instructor, some instructors will require you to write your papers in MLA, others in APA, but that information is available here. Now, as you scroll further down, the beauty of Blackboard for me is there's no guessing. And what I like to do with my class is I like to be very specific when it comes to what is expected for your essays. So for instance, with the narrative essay, I pretty much laid out the guidelines and expectations for that. I've even got the rubric. I even included the rubric in here. So when you are ready to work on your assignment, Okay, you come right here and you can review the specifics of it. Your syllabus will indicate the date in which it has to be turned in. So you're working on your paper, you've completed it, and when you are ready to submit, okay, what you do is you click on the link and it will take you to the upload page. And again, the upload page will just kind of remind you, hey, this is the due date for your essay, how many points are possible. Again, it has the directions and the rubric. Now, the key here is knowing how to submit your work. This is one of the biggest issues that I've seen when people start an online English class is how do you submit your essays? So what you do is you do your papers in Microsoft Word, if possible. And all you do is, you work on your computer, you save it on your computer, and then when you're ready to submit, you click on Browse My Computer. And then let's say, you got the essay ready, you just attach the Word file, and then you click Submit. Now what happens on my end is I see an indication that you have turned in that particular essay, and then I have to grade it. Now let's say you don't have Microsoft Word, okay? Because I realize that some students use Google Docs. That is not an obstacle. Because what I've allowed some students to do is what you can do is you can just simply submit the link to your Google Doc to Blackboard. And the way that you do that is where it says text submission, you just click on that and then you provide the link to your Google Doc. Okay, and that way, I can access that link, I can go to the Google Doc and then grade your paper. So those are really the ways that you can use to submit papers in an online English class. Now, a few more things I want to cover before I'm finished. Let me scroll down here to discussion boards. Now, again, with an English class, because we're not in a classroom, the discussion boards pretty much take the place of discussions that we would have in the class. So with discussion boards, I usually like to have an overview of the instructions on how these discussion boards are conducted, from week to week. And I like to provide the rubric in here as well. I like to be a little bit more detailed with my rubrics as opposed to maybe other instructors. And the way that it's set up is we have discussion boards that usually are every other week. In the English classes, especially during the summer, like for instance, with discussion board number 3, all right? I've got the directions for that you can read. And then when you are ready to post, you just click on the link. And as you can see, most of my class is already posted. So when you are ready to post your answer to that discussion question, what you do is you click on Create Thread. You can give it a subject. You can say Janelle's response. You can title it like that, and then type in your message, and then click Submit. Now, the cool thing about this is, especially if you are active in this course, you're active in the discussion, you will definitely have the opportunity to respond to a variety of students, and students will be responding to you. So let's say you're reading through this, and you click on Michelle's post, all right? And you want to respond to Michelle, all right? Basically what you do is you just click on reply and you can, provide your feedback, provide your thoughts as to, what she thought about this particular essay that we had to read. So that in a nutshell is how the discussion boards generally work for an online English class. Now, the last thing I'm going to touch on, beauty of taking a class in Blackboard online, is you can always check your grades. Okay, because I know that in the past I've taken classes and I didn't know what my grade was, and it was like the middle of the course. So here, all you got to do is click on My Grades, and you will always see your grade. So, those are pretty much the main things that you need to be aware of when you start an online course, whether or not it's sciences or whether or not it's English. You do want to go through those things. So I believe that's it. I don't know if there's anything else. Janelle?
No, I think you did awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate it.
All right.
And do we have any questions in the chat right now?
None at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay.
Awesome. Well, feel free to keep those questions coming in the chat, and there is a chance for us to answer them at the end. So now I kind of want to get into student experience. So as they were saying, this was all built because we've been there. We have needed to know what it's going to be like to go online. For some of us, it's a choice, and for others, it's really not. So we're going to hear from 3 students who went through this last semester at WCC and are going into summer. So we're going to see, kind of hear their story about what they've been through and why they chose what they chose for the semester. Josh, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, sure. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Josh Harris. I've been here for about 2 to 3 years, and I'm studying supply chain management, which is in the business industry. So my experience from the transition to online classes was a little, I don't want to say hectic at first, but it was a lot to take in. Because before everything happened, I was already taking 1 online class, but to take on 2 more, seemed a little stressful at the time. But I was able to contact my instructors. I even contact like a couple mentors just to help me balance my work schedule and my life and the school. And I'm able to be successful. Actually, I did last semester with A's. So it was the help of the instructors, the help of the resources that Washington has that helped me, make the type of progress that I needed, especially in that semester during that time.
And Josh, what did you choose for your summer semester classes?
Right now I am taking a history class and another business class. My history class is virtual, and my business class is online. My history class meets Tuesdays and Thursdays. The scheduled time is for 3 hours, but it usually doesn't take up most of the time. Usually an hour and a half. I think it just leaves the rest of the time for like questions or any concerns that students have. He's a really good instructor. He always communicates with the students, makes sure that we know he's here for us for anything that we may have, like for questions and all that.
Awesome, thank you. Well, we wish you success in continuing on this semester. Kevin, do you want to share your experience with us?
Yeah. So my name's Kevin. I'm one of the student ambassadors. This is my 3rd semester going in at Washington, and I'm currently studying for my culinary and hospitality management degree. And to be honest, like in the winter semester, like when we were meeting face to face, like everything was pretty smooth sailing. A lot of instructors were very open to like communication, as well as like showing me like different techniques and procedures. But once everything like moved online, it was kind of like a gray area because nobody's ever done this before. But we would like, a lot of the classes were very Blackboard heavy, so a lot of assignments and like emails were needed to be checked. And so because we had this like mentality of like what's expected of us at the beginning of the semester, it made the rest of the semester like transition a bit easier. I knew where to go, who to contact for different things. I think the only hardest part about the transition was my labs. So regarding like manipulation projects or cooking up different menu items, that was a bit of a stretch because I don't know what it's supposed to taste like versus like having a chef tell me. So a lot of that was done through pictures, but overall, like it wasn't the worst thing that would ever happen, you know? It's very doable. And I think the last thing was the summer. This summer I'm taking 2 general education classes, mainly because there weren't any culinary classes available for the summer. So I'm tackling on an English online class and then an environmental science blended virtual class. So just meeting 2 times a week, and it hasn't been that difficult. Just making sure that I stay on top of things and just being successful that way.
Awesome, Kevin. Well, good luck this semester. And our last student we're going to hear from is Mediha. Mediha, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Mediha. I'm also a student ambassador. I've been here at WCC for about 2 years now, and I'm going into the nursing program. So for me, my online transition was a bit hectic. Before that, I've never taken any online classes. I was always a FaceTime learner, and it was really hectic when we got into the shift. So first off, the first couple weeks, I struggled through my classes. I had no clue on what to do. The virtual meetings were posted, but I did not know how to go to them. I was just never an online learner before that, because I was like, I don't want to be alone. I want to be connected with my instructors. So that's why I always chose FaceTime classes. So I ended up deciding to meet with the academic advisor. I could have chosen tutoring or anything like that, but I was just so confused. So I just set up an appointment with the academic advisor. And then I went to that meeting, and they gave me a lot of good tips and tricks on how to basically set up your time, how to set up a different environment for yourself at your own home. So I literally changed my environment from like my bedroom to my living room to my dining room to now I'm in my basement, and I think this works best for me. And then the other thing they gave me was that they gave me a lot of support. So I always felt like I would be left alone if I went online, did the online classes. But the academic advisor gave me a lot of support, and they told me to contact my instructors, make sure I'm like connected with them. And after that, I did that. I aced my classes for that winter. And here I am taking 2 online classes. I'm taking HSC 164, which is basically an accommodation for the nursing assistant program, the nursing assistant certified nursing assistant license class, basically. And I can basically get into the nursing program with this class, but I do need to do my clinicals, which is really nice because I was really worried about how am I going to take, I'm going to get delayed in getting into the nursing program. So the other class I'm taking is Psych 100, which is really nice, and I'm getting connected with my instructors. I've set up my environment, and yeah.
That's awesome, Mediha. Thank you so much, you guys. We really appreciate having your voices in this. We're going to talk about next steps. At the end, we are going to show you guys where you can find this awesome Blackboard feature that we do have on our website under your student dashboard. But what I wanted to get back to with starting your experience here at WCC, you've seen these faces and heard these voices, and there's a couple of more in the background here. So you're going to meet your recruiter. So this can be right now, we are offering one-on-one go-to meetings where you can actually work through all of your admissions checklist with that personal one-on-one touch meeting. You'll be getting phone calls from all of us, and you will also maybe even be getting text if you prefer text. So we're really just trying to reach out, make sure that we're on that front lines for you guys. If any questions, concerns, anything like that, we're here to guide you guys. So we also say, go ahead and surf the website, explore all of your options that you do have, and apply. Applying is free, and we have open admissions. So what open admissions means is that no matter what your background is, educational or personal, you're welcome at WCC. So you can just come right on through our gateway. We have a symbol just that represents this because we feel so strongly about it. It is like 40 feet tall and right outside of our student center. Next, come and learn. So check out our areas of study. Our WCC website and we now have program pathways page where you can explore where you're going to go and how you might get there. You can speak with an advisor. As we were saying, everything is remote right now. They're reaching out and they're accepting appointments. You can do a phone call or a video chat. Online Advising does have their own web page, so feel free to search that in our search bar. And then register for classes. Everything is really flexible right now. We are open for still summer classes, and we have fall classes available as well. So do a little research. Feel free to register for something when it comes that time. We all know someone's got to pay for this, right? So we want you to be able to afford your education. We do that by having affordable admissions. So we have a really low cost philosophy here. High, excellent quality and low cost. We have financial aid experts actually for you guys to speak with. So any questions, we have email, we have phone numbers, we have contact for you guys. So just throw in the chat if you want some more information. And we have tons of scholarships. So WCC has a foundation. Our foundation scholarship it's huge. It's well funded by a very caring community, and we'd love to be able to help students. So please feel free to apply to that. We do have a scholarships page on our website. So we want you to succeed. And how we do that is by partnering with people like our success coaches. Our success coach program is awesome, and I want to take a minute to have Laura Beck actually highlight this for us. I'm going to hand this over to Laura.
So my name is Laura Beck. I am the success coach for the business career technical programs here at WCC. So those programs are very math, science, business heavy. So if you are in any of those programs, I will be the one who is contacting you. What is success coaching? You can think about it as an extra layer of accountability for you. Really, it can be a really good partnership for you to help you get through and navigate your college experience and journey successfully. Next slide. So what we do as success coaches is we work personally with you to set up one-on-one support plans to help you meet your goals and navigate the campus resources. So what we would do is we can sit down with you one-on-one, talk about what your goals are, and create that step-by-step plan to help you reach those goals. And maybe at this point, you're not even sure what those goals are for yourself. That's fine too. We can actually meet and talk about that and come up with some smart, reachable, attainable goals for you. The other part of it is maybe you have some questions about who do you go to on campus? Who do I talk to about my FAFSA? Who do I talk to for career planning help or for help picking out my courses? Or maybe I want to change my program. I can help you with that. We can sit down, talk about what your needs are, and I can help you pinpoint what resource it is on campus that you need, and I can actually help get you connected with those. Next slide. Common topics that come up in coaching sessions with students, time management, study skills, goal setting, campus resources, developing habits, and organizational skills. This could all be very new to you. Yeah, we've all been through the K-12, but now I have 3 to 5 different classes at all different times of the week. They all have really good course loads. How do I organize that? I can sit with you, your assigned success coach can sit with you and come up with what that plan may look like, what that time management is, what those study skills are, or what is the best way that you even learn. We can help find that out for you. And we can also help, make sense of how you're balancing all of this with life. Next slide. Dealing with the unexpected. Life happens, and no matter how much we plan for it, stuff always just catches us off guard. Life likes to throw little wrenches in our plans at times. So during those times, we want to work with you. And that could be your car breaks down, you lose your job, someone gets sick, you have to go somewhere to help a family member. We want to help you during those times, so reach out to us. I can't stress it enough. We're here to help walk you through this. So before making any, real quick decisions that you might regret later, like for example, just dropping your whole course load, reach out to us, tell us what's going on, and we can help walk you through how to handle it. Next slide. Some other barriers that might get in the way, mental health. We do have licensed professional counselors on campus that we can get you hooked up with if you need it. Finances, again, we have a lot of resources. So if an unexpected expense comes up, come see us. There might be something that we can help you with that. The work-life family balance, again, that can be a lot of the time management organization stuff. health, food insecurity. We do have a food pantry on campus as well as some other resources there. So never feel like you have to navigate any issue that might come up alone. Reach out to us. We are here for you. All of our resources on campus are free for you. So connect with us and we probably have something to help you. Next slide. So your success coach, you are assigned by program. There's a few of us, I think there's 5 of us right now. So you're assigned by program. We will be reaching out to you usually about 3 weeks before the semester starts to kind of see what you need. Is there anything we can help you with? Do you want to meet before the semester starts to kind of start your time management organization plan? That's great. You'll have our emails right away. If you want to reach out to us before that, you can find us on the website. You can email us at successcoaching@wccnet.edu. That is our general success coaching mailbox. So if you have any questions, that will come to you. It will go right to your assigned to success coach and we will answer you back. If you're trying to remember who we are, who is your success coach, you can find us on the website at that /succeed/success-coach. And we are all listed by discipline with our emails and phone numbers for you. So that's it, unless there are any questions. I do see one question, how do you get a success coach? You are automatically assigned one when you come into WCC if you're a first-year student. So you will get one. We will reach out to you, like I said, about 3 weeks before the semester.
I don't see any more questions, but we'll be monitoring it and then we'll forward anything on to you, Laura. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Thanks so much, Laura. So I want to talk a little bit about engaging on campus and even engaging remotely. Our student activities and our student development office, they are putting in a lot of work to make sure that you guys are still having fun even when you can't be face-to-face. So I definitely want to encourage you to check that out. They use Campus Connect. So that is a web space where they post all of their updates. You can engage. And if you want to engage in a professional way on campus, we have tons of opportunities for jobs. There are ways where jobs for work study can actually help pay for your education. And then there are other professional staff positions, and you can access those all from the jobs section of our website. All right, so you guys have heard all about Blackboard, so now I want to show you actually where you can find it. Okay, so you've made it to our wccnet.edu webpage. You're going to go to this WCC gateway. It says log in, log out. Select student dashboard. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see all of these buttons. These are going to be your highlighted areas. As a student, you are going to visit all of these all the time. So go ahead and mark this as a favorite page, just so you can access quickly. So to get into your Blackboard, you're going to select this tab here. You will enter your net ID and your password. These are items that you set up during your admissions process. You log in and it takes you to your student resources page. So we heard about those helpful videos. The helpful videos are on your Blackboard help page here. If you select this tab, and here you have Blackboard Help student resource videos alongside WCC Blackboard tips for student videos. So we absolutely suggest that you guys go ahead, take a look around, see everything that you may need, and definitely check out that student dashboard page. So again, you just click on this WCC gateway and you select the menu item for student dashboard. Keep an eye on these little buttons here because like I said, these are going to be integral parts of your admissions process. You'll find your checklist under your My WCC button, Blackboard for things like your online orientation, And this is where you access your WCC provided student email address, where you use to contact all of your questions for WCC instructors and departments. So once you are registered and you get that WCC email address after your application is submitted and accepted and you've heard back, please use your WCC email address and we'll be able to reach you promptly. So I just want to say thank you so much to our dream team of presenters and all of you prospective students that decided to come and take a look today. I hope that we were able and we broke down some barriers that you guys had and we opened your eyes. I'm going to hand it back over to Steve at this point, and Steve is going to wrap things up for us. So thank you all so very, very much.
Thanks, Janelle. I appreciate everybody's efforts today to provide great information, and I definitely want to thank all of the folks who took schedules today to hang out with us and learn more about online learning and Blackboard. I think one of the things that our recruitment office takes pride in is trying to get each and every person the individualized attention that they need to get through their enrollment steps and to connect them with people, you know, for instance, financial aid questions or academic questions, with the right folks to get those answers for you. So you can definitely expect to be hearing from us. One more time, I'd like to thank everybody for their participation today, and I hope that we can have you come on board campus, whether it's virtually and hopefully one day soon, face-to-face as well. And I hope you have a great finish to your day and a great week. Thank you.
Steve, before we actually have people leave, we had a couple of great questions, and I do see Laura that is here. One is, if they forgot who their success coach is, how can they find out who it is?
Yep, so I did also answer that in the chat. You can email that general success coaching email, that's successcoaching@wccnet.edu. Or if you go on the WCC webpage and search success coaching, it'll pull up our page and we're listed with the programs that we're responsible for with our emails and our phone numbers.
Wonderful, thank you. And
Yeah.
we also have another question that is asking how can they see how the class will be delivered? So I see that myself and Susan Dentel did answer that question, but if we can get a visual for everyone to see as well. Janelle, if you want to show it, otherwise my screen is ready to show it.
I will go ahead and hand the screen over to you, Annie. Thanks for that.
Of course. All right. So what I did in the search bar is I am on wccnet.edu and I am going to click search class schedule. There are many ways that you can get to this. This is just one of the fastest that I find. So I'm going to click on academic class schedule and we are here. So let's say you need to take Psychology 100. You're going to search it, and if we scroll down, you can see on your right-hand side how the class is going to be delivered. So we see online is available. Now, if you see over here, for an example, that says BE 158, or if you see GM 334, these are in classroom. These are face-to-face. So you're gonna physically be driving to the campus, parking your car, getting out of your car, and then walking to the designated building and the room number. A few that we have over here, this is a extension center. That's why it says off campus. So when you are searching for your class schedule, that's how you're gonna find out how it is being delivered. I think that is it.
Thank you, Annie. Are there any other questions before we finish for the day?
I don't see any other questions on here.
There's a good one there, actually, from Sarah that said, is it possible to apply for summer classes if you chose the fall? It absolutely is. And we would definitely love to help you individually if we can to get you set up for that. So we're making note of that message and we'll follow up with you for sure so we can get you taken care of. I think we're all set. So again, I just want to thank you for coming today, and I wish you the best, and I hope you have a fantastic finish to your week. Best wishes. Take care.